Hi everyone, my name's Sherry. I'm also known as Mothership, and I'm here today to tell you a story, one of many, that I've experienced in my life. I know some of you probably won't believe the stories that I tell, but they are all true. Today, I'm going to try to start from as far back as I can remember, and I'll try to work up from there, like age by age, for each of the stories I have. I'm not a hoax person. I'm not crazy. I'm just a regular person that just went through a lot of different experiences throughout my life. I'm actually the mother of two disabled adult children. They were both born disabled, and they've been using wheelchairs pretty much all of their lives. And my one daughter's 35, my other daughter's 29, and I've raised them well. They're awesome kids. So even though they're awesome adults, they're still my kids. And we've had a great life so far. But there's some weird experiences that I've had throughout my life. And I never really talked to, like, people about it. I mean, some people, very few. I've mentioned some of the things. But it's pretty much stuff I just kept to myself. Because I am the type of person that does keep to myself, so this is kind of new to me to do a video like this anyway. I had some videos that I did of my girls, and anyway, I'm going to start with my first story here, and this is going to go back a long, long time because I am 54 years old, and the first experience that I can remember, I was actually a baby in my crib. So I would have to say I was younger than a year, or at least younger than a year and a half, because I was still in my crib. So I'm just going to start with, I used to like being in my crib. The room was always dark, but it was very peaceful. And one night, this white thing, it was like a white ball, like a sphere. It was kind of like a light, and it like appeared at the side of my crib, and it just was like hovering there. It was kind of moving a little bit, but like really slow, like kind of, it was in the same spot, but kind of moving like up and down, like really slow, almost like graceful. I could put it that way. It was like slow, graceful movement. And I remember I had no idea what it was because I never saw anything like it, and I was a baby, and it wasn't like any toys I ever played with or anything. It was like different, like something new and different. And I remember just like staring at it and just staring and staring, and it was just, it didn't seem like it was anything bad. It was just there. And as I was staring at it for a while, like, all of a sudden, like, something poked me in the arm, and then it, like, poked me again, and then it just, like, started poking, because I was laying on my back, so it would have been my part of my crib was against the wall, but the one side's not against the wall, so I kept getting, like, this poked in my arm, and the pain didn't feel like, pain would feel like like when you're older, I guess like my brain didn't fathom what pain was yet or something. I'm not sure. But anyway, it sort of just kept poking me, and I was like poking my leg, poking my side, poking my arm. And the weird thing is when this was happening, it was like I couldn't move. It not like I was in a trance, but it was like I don't know, maybe sort of like my body was like paralyzed, sort of, but not fully paralyzed. But for some reason, when this was happening, I literally just couldn't move. So anyway, after a while, I'm like, not sure what's going on. I was a baby and this was like different. And it started like to hurt. But like I said, the pain wasn't like it is like when you're older or a teenager or an adult or anything like that. But it still hurt. So eventually I just started crying. And when I started crying, it seemed like, I don't know, like the sphere of light kind of just like, almost like it like moved back a little bit from the side of my crib. But then, like, I was able to start moving my arms and my legs. And I remember as I was crying, I just started kind of like, just like hitting the air basically and kicking the air. Like my hands and feet were just like just going like boom, 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 just like up in the air and just kicking around and hitting around. And then I remember I just started like literally like screaming and screeching. And then my mom came in and I remember her picking me up and she like held me against her shoulder and she was like just, trying to calm me down. She's just like, shh, it's okay. Shh, it's okay. It's okay. Everything's okay. Go back to sleep. Like things like that. I remember her telling me, and she was kind of like bouncing me a little bit. But I know I had my face like right into her shoulder, and I know, I don't think it took me real long to stop crying because my mom was holding me, so I was like comforted, and I was like, I don't know, I guess like glad. But when I started, like right before my mom got it, like heard me cry. I guess she didn't hear me crying regular, but when I started to actually, when I was kicking and hitting the air, and I actually started like screaming and screeching, and she heard me, the white thing left. I mean, it just like disappeared. So my mom didn't see it, but she comforted me and stuff. And then I know she had put me back in my crib. And I remember she covered me with my blanket because I was uncovered at the time. Like, my mom always covered me with a blanket. I remember that because I always, like, just really liked, I guess, the feeling of my blanket. And, which still stems to today. Like, when I lay down to go to sleep and I have my blanket on, I have it all the way up. Like, even up past my neck, like, touching the side of my face. So, I guess that, blanket is still, like, a comforting thing for me when I go to sleep at night. But I can't sleep unless I do have a blanket on my whole body and up to my, basically it's on my cheek, like it's past my neck and like up onto my one cheek. And that's how I pretty much sleep every night. And anyway, make a long story short, my mom had put me back to bed and everything, cover me up, and then I went back to sleep. I went to sleep. I'm not sure if I was sleeping to start with when that happened, but I know it wasn't a dream because it ended up happening 4 more times. So it actually happened a total of 5 times, and not in the same night, but on different nights. But anyway, I remember the next day my mom came in and stuff, and she picked me up, and she was gonna, change my diaper, get ready to feed me, and all the good stuff that stuff that moms do. And anyway, I remember when she was gonna like um I guess like change my clothes and my diaper and all that. But I remember her like staring at me like she was looking at my body. And I don't remember a whole lot of part after that, but I do remember later that day when my dad got home from work. I can honestly remember her like showing my um body to my dad, like my arm and my leg and my side. And I remember him saying something like what are those? What are those? And my mom said something like they look like bruises but different. And that's pretty much all I remember of like what was said. I know there was a lot more than that, but really, I know people might say it's impossible for someone to remember back when they were a baby, and I'm sure that that's what they believe. But, and I can be honest and say, I don't remember a whole lot when I was a baby. Like, I really don't. But that particular instance and instances, somehow, I don't know if it was like a traumatizing. I mean, I don't know, but I know that that was real and that really happened to me. And like I said, that happened a total of 5 different times, and it was always at night when it was dark and in my crib. So um to this day, I still don't know what it was or why that happened to me. And I do watch as a well. You'll know when I do different stories because you'll understand more. Like I've looked up bunches of stuff, like even on like paranormal things, different things like that, and I never really heard of or saw like a white ball, a white sphere. That was it was kind of like light, like it had light. So I've never really seen or heard of that happening to somebody before. But maybe now that I'm talking about it, maybe somebody else will remember, like in their life, that something like that happened, even when they were like a little baby still. Um. Anyway, well, because of that, I'm assuming it's because of that. But you know, to this day, like I said, I'm 54 years old, and throughout my entire life to this day, I have never slept in the dark. I always have a nightlight or some source of light, a dim lamp I've had used before. I've used regular night lights that plug in that are like kind of bright. Um, Sometimes it would just be like the hall light shining in so that I can actually go to sleep without feeling afraid. And I don't really think that I'm afraid of the dark. I mean, I love being outside at night in the dark and stuff like that. Like, I don't really think I'm afraid of the dark, but I can say I do have like a fear. I guess it's a fear, but of like what lurks in the dark or what may be lurking in the dark. Like when I go to sleep, you know, is there something lurking around me? So I've had that fear my whole entire life. I can say that because, even as a young child, as a teenager, as an adult, even after I've had my own children, this has been a lot of years, and I always have some type of light when I'm going to go to sleep. Um, and I believe it stems back from what happened to me when I was in my crib. And I think it just really, you know, put something in me that's just like, no, you're not going to close your eyes and go to sleep in this darkness because something might be lurking there, and that's the only time. Like I said, a lot of other things have happened to me, and I've had a lot of other experiences, like many, many throughout my lifetime. But that was the only time that I've ever seen like a light like that, like a sphere, that was like bright white, like a white, and with like light coming out of it. Well, not coming out of it, but it was like the whole sphere was like a light. That's It's hard to explain, but that's the best way I can explain it. And I've never seen anything like it again. I've never, had anything appear next to me like that again. I mean, well, another thing I always do too is wherever my bed is, I always have one side of my bed up against a wall because I feel like the wall side is safe, where the other side is makes me kind of like vulnerable or something. And that's how my crib was too. Like I said, it had one side up against the wall, and that was the safe side. And I am who I am today, and I'm glad. I mean, I'm glad I went through a lot of experiences I have because it did make me who I am today. And like I said, I'm the mother of, two disabled adult children, and I love them very much, and I know they love me very much. Sometimes they might think I'm a cuckoo bird or whatever, but, we've had a great life together, and it's still having a great life together. And that's about it. That's about all I can remember concerning all that. And like I said, I'll have more stories to tell you. And every story that I put on, I'm calling this experiences, and this will be like story one. But every story I put on that's going to be under experiences, those are real experiences from my own life. I started actually writing a book. I never finished it, but I started like gonna write a book called Experiences and then do something like this, but I never finished it. I never did. I guess, I'm, like I said, more of a quiet type person, so this is new for me. And I'm glad though, because even though it's a weird subject, like that people would consider weird, and like I said, I mean, people can view me as crazy or whatever, but if I was crazy, I definitely wouldn't have been able to raise the children that I raised, because there was a lot that, my girls had to go through, even medically and everything else. And, it kind of takes somebody, I don't know, no, I don't want to say strong, but someone with at least a half decent head on their shoulders to be able to do that and do it well. So anyway, that was my earliest experience, and I thank you for listening, and I'm glad to do this. I'm glad that I decided to do this, and I hope you all have a great day and great night, and thanks for listening to my story. All right, bye.